Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to welcome you to our next speaker session here at Careers in the Outdoors. And please welcome here Hugo from Peak Leaders has joined me to talk about what it's like to become a snow sports instructor. So Hugo, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell me a bit about who you work for and what you actually do?
Okay, I work for a company called Peak Leaders who have been in the snow sports industry for just over 10 years now. And they've always dealt in instructor courses for skiing, snowboarding, now mountain biking and surfing, all with the intention to end up with a qualification. So I've been working for Peak Leaders now for a year and a half within sales and advertising, and now actually leaving to go out to St Anton to actually use my qualification as an instructor.
And how did you get started on your personal career in snow sports, just out of interest?
Well, 7 years ago now, I went and did my own instructor course out in Eastern Canada, where I got my Canadian level 1 and 2, as well as my freestyle qualifications, which has basically helped me out the whole way through university, as I taught on the local dry ski slope, helped me get onto the university snow sports teams, and has also landed me, obviously, the Peak Leaders job, but also the job I'm just about to undertake in Austria.
And what other jobs have you done along the way whilst working in the snow sports industry?
Well, I've started probably about the age of 16 working for Ellis Brigham, a snow and ski and snowboard shop in London. But otherwise, as I said, sort of working for the local dry ski slope in Southampton, and just other kind of resort jobs, kind of freelance photography, film production within ski resorts, that kind of thing.
And could you describe, to give people an idea of what it's like to work as a snow sports instructor, is there such a thing as a typical day?
Not really. I mean, I think the beauty of the job is that every day is completely different. And the advantage of this is obviously sort of having a bit of job variation, so something to look forward to every day, sort of be it absolutely perfect blue skies, deep powder, that kind of thing, but also having different clients, kind of different attitudes towards skiing, but also completely different skill levels as well.
And if someone was thinking of becoming a snow sports instructor, what would you say to them might be the reason they should do it? Is it because they love skiing and they just want to be out there working a season and they think that's the best job for them? Or what are the right reasons for becoming a snow sports instructor?
Okay, I mean, the right reasons is first and foremost because you love skiing. There are obviously so many resort jobs to take. I mean, for instance, from being a chalet boy, chalet girl, that kind of thing. But if you truly love skiing and you actually want to earn kind of a living out of it, then doing something like ski instructing is the way forward, because it's much more of an investment. Whereas being a chalet boy or a chalet girl is generally very short term, very hard work, and you don't actually get to ski that often. In comparison with obviously ski instructing, you're skiing all day, every day. And there's a big ladder to climb as well.
So, and that's quite interesting. So the reality of working as a snow sports instructor is that you actually don't get to ski and snowboard very much.
Well, I mean,
although you are skiing and snowboarding every day, you're
yes.
not doing your thing. You're doing what you need to do for your clients.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I mean, generally on a typical day, you'll be starting at about 10, you'll be finishing at about 3. So you've got sort of an hour and a half in the mornings and an hour and a half in the afternoons just to ski yourself. But I mean, that's obviously saying that you're working 7 days a week, which generally isn't the case.
And in your experience, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of teaching snow sports?
I think quite simply it's just kind of being able to teach people, sort of letting them achieving their goals, but also exceeding their goals. Especially within something as exciting as skiing, where people have often always dreamed about being able to ski and be able to kind of watch people on TV and just kind of imitate those skills.
And I suppose conversely, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of the role? Is it the difficult person who simply never gets it the whole week, or are there other more challenging aspects?
You do get the very stubborn bunch, which are very hard to teach, but as well as it obviously being the best aspect of the job, with everything changing every day from kind of skill levels, weather, that kind of thing, teaching people in minus 55 in a gale force wind isn't often that fun.
If you've got a basic instructor qualification, which you can get from various organisations, How does your career progress having got that qualification? What happens every time you work a season? Do you need to sort of achieve more? Do you need to get more qualifications, or how does it work?
Well, I think the beauty of all the qualifications worldwide is that you never have to renew these qualifications. So once you have the qualification, you could go away for 6 or 7 years, come back and be able to get exactly the same job. And on the same level, there's also a big ladder to climb. And so generally what they have worldwide throughout all the different countries that offer qualifications are normally 4 levels. So level 1 you can kind of teach up to beginner standards, so just beyond snowplow turns. Level 2 you can teach up to any standard. And also then you can actually diversify and potentially teach race coaching or freestyle skiing, that kind of thing. And then once you become a level 3, you can actually start teaching people how to teach. So you can be an instructor for an instructor's course, for example. And by that stage, obviously, as it's such a kind of, and actually quite a hard ladder to climb, you'll be getting a lot more money kind of per level that you go up.
And where can you work once you've got qualified? Is it truly, if you read some of the brochures or promotional literature, it's a passport to working, teaching snow sports anywhere in the world? Is that really true?
Yes and no. I mean, there are certain countries that have their kind of, slightly short-sighted, but they see that the way they see it is that they can provide enough instructors from their own country, therefore they don't need others kind of with international qualifications. And those countries are France and Austria in particular, who provide their own qualifications. And the French actually make it very difficult for foreigners to get these qualifications, but the Austrians, it's very easy. I mean, if you can speak German, that's absolutely fantastic. But they work on the same kind of level. So if you have a Canadian level 1, it translates to an Austrian level 1, but you still need to get their own qualification. I mean, the way that they talk about it is you need Austrian road tax to drive on their roads, and you need an Austrian ski tax to ski.
How do you actually go about getting qualifications, I guess, is the kind of question people might have. If they want to get started to become a ski instructor or snowboard instructor, where should they go? What do they need to do?
Well, I think the first and most important thing is actually to think about where you potentially want to work. So if you want to work in Austria, then you're going to have to do an Austrian qualification. If you want to work in Switzerland, New Zealand, Canada, America, you can do the BASI, which is the British qualifications, or you can do the CSAA, which is all the Canadian qualifications, and they actually work over all of those countries. Japan's included in that, Argentina, North America, Canada, New Zealand, and a few other European countries, but specifically not Austria and France. And the way to do that is, I mean, you can either do this completely independently, and if you think your skiing's competent enough, or if you've already got a few instructor qualifications in different disciplines, you can just go straight up and go and do the CSIA level 1 exam, for example. The other option is obviously to do it through a kind of a snow sport instructor course, and there's a huge amount of courses that actually are out there to do that, and obviously Pete Leaders being one. But as I said, first off, it does hugely depend on where you want to do it.
And if you go on an instructor course with peak leaders or with other organisations that provide the training to get these qualifications, what does the course actually involve, and how long does it take? Could you give me some idea on that?
There's 2 different kinds of courses that you can do. There's a short course, the idea of which is they're normally right at the beginning of the season, and the idea is just to get you level 1, and so you can go straight into a job afterwards. So normally they'll finish mid-December, in time for the Christmas rush, when you're definitely going to be needed as an instructor. The other option is slightly more of a long-term investment to actually go on a longer course between maybe 9 and 12 weeks long, where you're going to be looking at getting maybe your level 1, your level 2, and also diversifying, as I said, to maybe the race coaching or freestyle skiing or something like that. And this is definitely more of a long-term thing, obviously, because it costs more and the course is longer, therefore you're not actually going to be able to teach that season. But if it's a way that you actually want to stay in the industry for life, then it's a great idea.
And what level do you need to, how good a skier or a snowboarder do you need to be before you go on one of these courses? Is it a waste of time going if maybe I've only skied a few seasons and I'm pretty basic? Do I really need to be at a certain proficiency level?
Well, I mean, this is actually something that all these kind of snow sport instructor companies have actually found really hard. They found it really hard to be able to actually attain someone's ability just by talking to them. So what they've actually all done is actually say, well, as long as you know that people can happily ski a red run and also actually have the confidence to be able to go out for a whole season and just really, really improve their skiing, then that's absolutely fine. So in terms of skiing ability, it's more in the head rather than kind of skiing ability itself. As long as you can on the first day happily go down a red run, then you'll be absolutely fine.
Okay, and tell me, which qualifications do you have? Is it the Austrian one, or is it a different system that you're qualified in?
Well, I've got the CSIA level 1 and 2, as well as my freestyle qualification. But because I've absolutely fallen in love with St Anton, I've now actually had to go and get my Anwärter qualification, which is the Austrian level 1, so I can go out there and teach. And so, because unfortunately the qualifications don't translate.
And what did it involve, getting the Austrian qualification? What did you have to do?
It was very similar to the CSIA level 1 in terms of the skiing ability, but obviously my German had to be tip-top, and having never spoke a word of German before this season, it took 2 weeks of very intensive, all-day Michel Thomas CDs.